there comes a time when you start to learn from others and mentorships and just looking at others and going, how do they do it differently? Because there's got to be some secret sauce here. There's got to be some formula that some guys are just working 9 to 5 till they're 65 and they're just killing themselves, barely making it. And then there's the others that make it.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Creating Wealth Podcast, where I, Kyle, from Kyle Curtin Real Estate, interview local top dogs in the real estate investing, wealth building, and personal finance industries. Let's build together. What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 109 of the Creating Wealth Podcast. Today, we have the great pleasure of chatting with Justin Tuminowski. Justin is a killer real estate investor, a licensed electrician, a multifamily operator, and a member of the Sub-2 community. Super excited to have you on today, Justin. How are you, my man?
Kyle, thank you so much. Pleasure is all mine. Please, I love it. Let's do this. I want to, however I can bring value to you, let's do it.
Right back at you, my friend. So to kind of jump right in, man, tell us how you kind of found the real estate space, how you kind of got into things, and we'll jump from there.
It all started to the man that's still in my life, my grandfather, a blue collar carpenter. And since I can remember, I was just on the jobs with him, whatever I can be around him and do whatever I could to be around him, whether he was fixing old cars and working on his house, which he's still in that property today, which I've worked on plenty of times now, but then going to jobs with him, swinging a hammer. I knew at a very young age I was going to be a blue collar worker.
Mm-hmm.
It was ingrained in me through him, not to be a hard laborer type carpenter. Don't be a carpenter, go to school. And I never listened, but I just knew that I wasn't going to work that hard. So I found the best trade I could possibly be in, other than, I would say, an elevator guy or a plumber, an electrician. So that was it. I said, let's find the best blue collar trade we can do that makes the most money. It's really how I got into that. So yes, it all starts with my grandfather.
Wow. That's awesome, man. I definitely feel you on the blue collar thing. I still have a W-2 now. It's I do HVAC, like low voltage controls, like JCI kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of done with it, but it is what it is. We're working on it.
You got a skill forever. You have a skill forever, and you're a step ahead of a lot of people with a trade.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's served me well over the past couple of years, and kind of allowed me to dabble in real estate quite a bit and stuff like that. So I am definitely very thankful for that, but it's not serving me as much anymore. But we're working on it.
You're tuned out. That's what we call that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Yep.
That's awesome, man. So take us kind of through, working through the blue collar, kind of lifestyle into, discovering real estate and kind of how that can be something a little bit different that you wanted to kind of experiment with.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, so in the trades, we're a service provider, right? So I've been a worker my whole life. I still work wild hours and nonstop. And I don't think I'll ever leave that behind. It's ingrained in me and I love it. Mm-hmm. But there comes a time when you start to learn from others and mentorships and just looking at others and going, how do they do it differently? Because there's got to be some secret sauce here. There's got to be some formula that some guys are just working 9 to 5 till they're 65 and they're just killing themselves, barely making it. And then there's the others that make it. And so I just look around, and we went from being a service provider, just figuring out how to make money. Right. And it was all about the money then. And then to learning and stepping back and looking back, then I said, all right, let's start a business. So we opened up, one of my best friends and I opened up electrical business ourselves. And we would dump, then we at a young age too, we weren't even able to buy homes yet. We didn't own homes yet. And we would drive through the local neighborhoods looking for, in like MLS, looking for duplexes, because we thought that was the sweetest operation.
Mm-hmm.
And then we talked about it. Then we didn't know how to get money. So then we built our company up. You grow, getting funds. We ended up learning how to go to auctions. We ended up flipping our own house. So then we just really gradually started just taking action. And I know I diverted a little bit there, but the first deal we did was a flip in Salem, New Hampshire in about 2013. And it snowballed from there. The proof of concept was there. And then we opened up saying, hey, we'll do 2 of these a year, thinking you were going to get rich, right? And then we saved all that income that we would ever get from our business flips, and we started rolling them into full gut rehabs of, multifamily homes.
That's beautiful, man. Holy crap. That's quite the transition, especially, to kind of go from like an initial idea, especially working with the same person like the whole time, and just kind of gradually growing things, snowballing things. That's awesome. Wow.
Yeah. Unfortunately, him and I separated 2 years ago. It was a childhood best friend. Circumstances were just, I think life separated us. His family grew and his dynamic shifted, and I sold my stake in that electrical business. He went down the electrical path full time. I took the real estate full time.
Yeah.
So that's completely fine. But yeah, I mean, we rock and rolled. We built a foundation together. He built a foundation and a support system and a mental ability, and his mindset shift. Same with me. Like, we both grew together. So we both took something out of that's invaluable.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, for sure.
Wow. That's cool, man. How was it kind of like, I guess, what was kind of going through your head with that first property, like jumping into things for the first time? Like, like how were you kind of feeling?
I mean, my whole life I don't know if I always say this, and it's like either I'm too dumb to care or too dumb to know, or I just have the tenacity to go full force through something. Yep. But I don't know. We just bought a foreclosure, 2013, 12 to 13 we were coming out of we were still seeing a lot of those foreclosures, the hub zoos, the town auctions, the foreclosures were pretty prominent still.
Yeah.
From the 08 era. So, it just said, listen, we got to do it. We know what's the worst that can happen? I still have this mentality now. I go, we buy houses. The house that I'm sitting in right now, it's a big old, beautiful house. I go, this was a foreclosure. I go, some of them we tore the outside. And you go, what's the worst that can happen? We know the trades. We know how to build these things. We've built homes before.
Yep. So
I guess that's when I say this is a tool, and like HVAC controls, anything really blue collar. I always say you are a step ahead of the curve with other investors. But just go for it. We went in, I opened the bulkhead. The crawl space had 4 feet of water in it.
Nice.
Like, oh crap. Whatever. Like, that's what a sump pump's for. Throw the sump pump and the hose in, and I'll see you in 4 hours, whatever. And we did it. Of course, everyone talks about their first deal and how you learn so much, but it was a success, and it's a learning.
Absolutely. Yeah, I definitely agree with you, man. It's the dynamic, and like, I love having the conversation with people, especially around, like buying your first property or, first couple properties, whatever. Like, the amount of like knowledge and education about yourself as well. Like, I love having that conversation, because like I feel like it, like when you are in some of those situations where like crap is hitting the fan, like things are like off the charts, like I don't know, I feel like you just learn so much about yourself, and like so much grows within you as a person from this thing that's sitting on a foundation, and like it's so much bigger than like just the property itself. And I definitely, it's funny you say that about finding all the water in the basement, because I found 5 inches in the basement a couple weeks ago, and definitely not 4 feet. That's like a whole like aquarium at Bass Pro Shop or something, man.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, it teaches you a lot, like especially when you're in some of those situations where things are hitting the fan, and like just kind of like the mindset of like, all right, like things are horrible right now, like you just go, you rationalize, you go and get the pump, you set up the cord and the hose, and all right, like we'll figure it out. It is what it is.
That's it. Like, what are the choices? And that's what a lot of things, I mean, Kyle, let's look at it in life and in general, in any situation. what are we going to do? Sit and cry? I always say cry about spilt milk.
Exactly.
Let's just, no one else is going to get you out of this mess.
Yep.
Mommy and daddy are not coming to save you. Maybe
Mhm.
they will, but we didn't have that. Right. So
Yeah.
like, and if you turn that little stroke in your mind,
Yep.
and it will just change everything.
Absolutely.
And then, and yeah, I totally agree. And how did that 5 inches of water work out?
It's all good. They just bought pumps. The plumber was out the next day for the water heater. Like everything's fine,
Yeah.
And you get through it.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
100%, man. And that's definitely the hands down the biggest takeaway that I've gotten from this property. And it was from 2 weeks after I bought the property. I had another situation with a couple oil tanks leak on me, and but it like something literally like punched me in the face, like from reality, that said, like, if you want to be in this game for, as long as you think you want to, like, you need to learn this lesson today, that like crap like this is gonna happen, and you're gonna need to figure out a way to like take a step back, breathe, and figure out what the next step is to get it done. Because if you don't, like, just quit now. Like you're not gonna make it.
Yeah, go back, sit at a desk, get a paycheck, and put your vacation request in, and just
hope that it gets approved.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yes, it's true.
Yeah.
We have it every day, and you can't, bro. When I tell you, we're learning so much every single day. I thought that I had a lot of things figured out. I am so willing now to learn, and I'm so accepting that my mind shift literally from, oh, shit or crap. Sorry for swearing.
That's all right. It's all good. Yeah.
You change that mentality, going like, oh boy, the doomsday. You go, no, this is awesome. Well, I can tell you right now, I just entered in a lawsuit right in Atlanta for a non-performance, breach of contract. It was a fraud. This lady was a fraud, the seller. But my partner and I were like, if you watched us, like you and I on Zoom or when we were chatting, we're like, yes,
let's go.
This is awesome. Like, we are so enthused that we're $30,000 in the hole right now, but we are so happy because you know why? We're getting an education.
Absolutely.
We're very comfortable in how we perform.
Yep.
But we're also getting an education that is invaluable,
100%.
and we can actually help others.
Yep.
So
literally, the call that I was just on, man, like right before the show, I was just talking to someone about that. Literally, like, and I had a similar conversation yesterday. I love talking about it. Like, when things are going crazy and like it looks like it absolutely sucks, because sometimes it definitely does.
sucks.
But afterwards, once you get it figured out, to be able to reflect on those experiences and realize, like, oh, hey, like a couple weeks ago it was like $3,000, like out of the blue, to get all this stuff figured out. But depending on how you frame your mindset, like, you could say like, oh shit, like it was $3,000 for me to deal with this. Like, oh, that blows. Or you could say, oh, bigger picture, you lucked out like a bandit that you got to go through this experience, implement the systems, like stress test your team for only $3,000. It's a complete like shift.
It is.
And, I love talking about that.
Looking at that bright side, right? And then there's another aspect, which when you were speaking, I was thinking of, like, when you find something that's, oh crap, I didn't know about that $5,000 or $3,000 thing I missed.
Yep.
But then I know I had one at one of my projects that Pace was at. I go, when I was actually fixing it and working on it, I go, this is done. This is done now for my children. If they still own this house, this is done for them. Yep. And all these little things, and I'm picking them up now while I'm here. Thankfully, I'm doing it now because I'm not getting, like, you can look at it. You trick yourself.
Yeah.
But I'm so like, well, I'm happy that you got that all resolved. And oil tanks can be a trick, right? I mean, we got, and who's looking under the tanks, feeling them, and things happen.
Yeah,
that's it. But
exactly.
It separates investors from the tired landlords, and it separates the mom and pop shops.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, it's, to be honest, like, I love the education that comes from those experiences. And like, like it was just talking about it. Like, it's kind of weird. Like, I realized this a couple weeks ago on like Facebook and stuff like that. Like, I enjoy talking about when things aren't going well with my house and like how we're dealing with it, how we're going through it, like how things are going, probably more than when things are going good. And like, it sounds like ass backwards, but like, it's just because I feel like a lot of people around us especially like might not necessarily be open to some of those conversations. And like we all go through it one way or another, right? Like I had, I didn't find my water heater for 2 days. I don't know, I'm not there. Like it's part of the game, it
Yeah.
is what it is, and
Yep.
like I feel like if like this goes to like everyone out there, and I mean really like any field or business that you're in, but like if you're willing to be vulnerable, like the power in the authenticity that comes from that, like people really resonate with that because it's real. It's not like sunshines and rainbows, everything's fantastic all the time. It's
social
not.
media. It is, I know. And you bring up a good point. And I want to do more on, and I do a lot of content on my phone, but 98% of it doesn't even make it anywhere yet. And I'm working on that. Right. But like the bad is really, those are the learning lessons. Yes. Because you can look at Kyle and say he bought this multifamily, and you can look at Justin and he did this and you do that. But when everyone goes into it with the sunshine and rainbows, with the rose colored glasses, right? We've all sort of done that. But when you find out that, oh shit, you're in a lawsuit, that's why people panic, right?
Yeah.
And then they also think that you did something wrong. So I'm the plaintiff. I'm the one actually going after this person. But yeah, and like I just had like this learning lesson there. I just had a disgruntled painter try to call the town, saying that we needed permits. And the inspector came over. He's like, this is a joke.
Yeah.
Like, and I had to apologize to him. Sorry that I have a disgruntled painter. But that's a negative, but that's a learning lesson. Absolutely. To, watch yourself. And I'm going to framework that and have some sort of lesson on that. But yeah, the negative needs to come out a lot more, but we need to be positive about it, because negativity is not something. Negativity loves company, and that's not what I love.
Definitely. 100%, man. I totally agree. Yeah. It's really powerful stuff.
Yeah.
That's killer, man. Wow. So take us kind of through, like getting like that first project on, like, starting to kind of ease into like the real estate stuff more, and, wanting to like really grow this thing and continue building. What did kind of like the next couple steps look like?
Yeah. I mean, so I was in a confusing state, because I thought, two flips a year, maybe you make 50 grand, 60 grand on one or two. That was going to be life-changing money. And then you quickly realize, like I said, it's not. But it can be a foundation and a progression. So really and then the flip side of it was I had electrical business that I wanted to build, and I was getting a lot of volume of work, but I realized I was conflicted. I have a partner who's a worker and an amazing electrician. And then you have me, who's just like, great electrician, but I am loving real estate. I fall in love with homes, bro. I don't think most people that know me, know me. They know I love homes, like they're women. Like I fall in love with them. Yeah. It's crazy. It's wild, but it was ingrained in me. So yeah, I mean, the progression was like the fix and flip is cool, but I know the true wealth building, it was not transactional and not just, transactional income. It's that long-term, be a landlord, have tenants, the whole thing we've all learned. And then, so we just slowly, I was able to blend the two. So the competitive edge that I always have, and I still have to this day. And I'll keep beating that blue collar conversation, that we will buy in auction properties when the investor has to either go find the GC, pay all that money, or they're going to wholesale it. Cause I know a lot of the auction guys were like quickly flipping within like the 3-day window. I could pay more than anybody, most people. And I can still make the margins work because I'm a blue collar worker. And I know I have the friends and the know-how to get it all done. So that is the competitive advantage that I think we had, and we still have to this day. But yeah, and then you progress, right? Again, I thought a 2-family was going to be the greatest thing on life. Then another 2-family, another one, and another one. And we bought like 6 2-families in the town of Derry. But then I'm like, wait, all right, cool. Now let's consolidate into like larger assets.
Yeah.
But it's all, that's another conversation on, some folks want to start foundational, small increments. Others, like my fix and flip partners, like, He doesn't own any assets but his big old $2 million house. But he goes, when we're doing it, I'm getting the 30 and above or the 10 and above. So I think maybe like you, I don't know 100%, but I had to start with the 2 families first.
Definitely.
And
I'm
I'm
right there
okay
with
with that. I'm
Yep.
okay. So yeah.
I love that, man. No, I'm right there with you, my man. Definitely, and I do really like that. You were able to kind of use like the vertical integration, kind of model of having like a lot of the systems built, being an electrician yourself, and kind of having all those tools at the ready. I like that stuff. Always makes my ears perk up, man. Like to be able to look at some of these deals with a lot of the back end framework already built, and potentially like have less of a rehab budget, or like things look a little bit different, to be able to pay a little bit more and be more competitive than some of the people that the GC and the whole team is completely third party, and be able to like still get the deal, still have some pretty decent margins, and make it happen. It's really cool stuff. I love that.
And that's the biggest thing is that's why everyone's like, well, you don't use a calculator? You don't have a big rehab calculator? And when we do creative finance, there's a lot of calculators that are like, and that's just not who I am. I go, no, I just run it in my mind. I have it all. Like I just get a piece of paper, give me a chicken scratch, and I'll have the budget done. Yeah, it is. I'll to the day I die, I will always tell. And I have a kid that's coming up with me right now. He's working for me. He's an electrician. We work together in the same company somewhat. He's younger, but I told him, like, CJ, you have the competitive advantage, bro. You have to not always have that advantage. You have people with money. You have people with ways of finding private money quicker, and they can fund deals better. And there's another secret sauce to that. But you have the blue collar, which most people, it's one of the biggest hiccups in life for them in investing in contractors, because contractors in general are pretty shitty. Let's just face it. They don't say what they don't do what they say they're going to do.
Yes.
So that's like, oh, so you have an angle there, but totally correct, Kyle.
I appreciate that, my man. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I know you're definitely wrapped in really well with kind of the sub 2 community. I don't know too much about it. I know like, a bunch of the guys and gals that are in the group absolutely love it. I don't know too much about it. I would love to kind of hear more about, kind of like how like the group works, like how you guys like help each other. Like I see it all over the place. Right? I just, this one won't get aired, guys.
Yeah.
You won't even hear that. But yeah, I'd love to kind of hear more about, and especially like, your kind of role like within that community. And yeah.
It's a community, just like you said. It's made me a better human. It's made me a better family man. It's made me a better businessman. It's made me a better human in all phases of life.
Yes.
Hands down. Pace Morby, I owe him everything. Now I can call him a friend of mine, right? We text each other, talk to each other. He gives me a lot of love. And so I will do everything, just like, I guess I'm not really a religious person, right? And you can almost say that like, this is our religion. You can call it a cult, as funny as it may sound, because they don't know. But when we're in it, bro, I don't really have any friends anymore from anywhere else other than sub 2 now. All investors, see you at a meetup, you're a friend of mine. That's all we have. That's all I care about.
Yep.
So sub 2 is more than just the sub 2, right? The sub 2 aspect. People are like, oh, how do you take over a mortgage subject to blah, blah, blah. It's more than creative finance. Yeah. We always say any problem inside subject to sub 2. We have people that are getting married, having babies, like they found love. It's the craziest thing.
Wow.
Like I was texting a friend of mine, Caroline Kane. She's one of Pace's like true, like, I don't know, girls or whatever. She's really good inside our place. And her and I, like, when you come to Arizona, and then we were doing something about, announcing what we're doing locally. So if other people out in the free Facebook groups and the YouTubes and the folks that are just on the outside looking in, we're trying to put like a list, like, hey, if you guys have any questions, here are like the local leaders in your area. So, and then the next thing you know, it's like, she's like, hey, your social media is like coming off. And I said the same thing about her. And I'm like, I want to go to a mastermind for social media. Do you know anything? She's like, I do too. So we're going to go. Last night I was looking at which one we're going to go to. And we're just going to, like, two friends we've met before, but we met through sub 2, completely just. And then we're going to say to everybody else in sub 2, who wants to come with us? We're going to the social media mastermind. Like,
Yes.
this community gives, I can go in any state, anywhere, and have a friend. And it was a game changer.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. And like,
Wow.
again, I can go all over the place with this. Locally in New England, we're getting a lot of love lately as well, because we have amazing group of leaders. There's a woman and a girl named Suzanne Sharkey, who's out of the Rhode Island, Connecticut area. She treats our New England, and we call it an accountability, right? So every Thursday we all can get on Zooms, and any other time, Discord, Facebook, and we have our local people that, 200 of us at any given time are in there. But this girl took, like, the mother role. She corrals all the crazy investors together and, like, puts them in line, all these entrepreneurs. That's like an insane asylum on its own, right? And we owe it to her, but she put us on the map, where then I come in, other people, we have a kid named Z up in Maine, Jeff out in Springfield, who really are passionate on being leaders and then bringing value. So I'll host meetups at my house. I'll host little things around here. We're getting a little bit more, but we'll do quarterly. We just had a big old dinner where we all dress up, and, it's a family.
Yep.
And that's the best way of describing it. But and all the bad eggs get weeded out.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about it. So if you immediately come in with a what's in it for me attitude and how do I get what I want, you're not going to last very long in here.
Mm-hmm.
In case in point, I had a gentleman who, in my Instagram things, like, I get a lot of messages, and I had a kid. I looked back on the track record. It was like November, December, and then just yesterday or the day before, he's like, "Hey man, I got a sub 2 deal. How do my attorney needs the paperwork. I can't squat up with anybody. I can't give equity because I'm keeping it as a rental." So I'm like, what do you want?
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, what are you looking for? So I said, like,
Yeah.
what are you looking for from me? Because I know what he's looking for. He's looking for me to give him all the paperwork. That's like giving away our Bible.
Yeah.
Excuse my words. And I get offended by that, right? Like, I'm like, all right, now it's my job as the father. I'm protecting. So I made it known to sub 2. Guys, anyone in this area, this guy's in Ohio and he's in Connecticut. He's circling our camps. Just letting you know, do not give that paperwork to him. That's tens of thousands of dollars of paperwork that we are using. We are protecting. You can't just go on Google for these things. And not to mention, it's going to get him in trouble because he's going to be not know how to use it.
Yeah.
And he's going to set up a seller for a failure.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a bad situation. I just said, hey man, like, no one's looking for anything. I'll never tell you I want money.
Yeah.
But you should be a go-giver and say, hey, what can I do for you? Or how can you help me do something? Instead of saying, like, I need the paperwork, my attorney needs it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I didn't mean to get on a little tangent on that.
No, that's okay. Yeah.
But it just shows how we protect this community.
Absolutely.
And and that's daily. We, someone just is in the middle of losing some money from a private lender that's outside our community. Our community and the group of leaders, we all meet and we try to figure out what's the best course of action to help our fellow sub 2 student navigate the waters. We're not attorneys, but that's a support system. She can't go to her husband. She can't go to her kids. She has her local peers that got her back.
Yes.
And it just, I have countless stories after that.
Yeah, I 100% agree, man. I absolutely love that. And there's a couple of things that I'd love to, like, really touch on, but the most recent one from something that you just mentioned was making sure that, like, the people around you are the right people to have the right conversations with, because, like, and this was a tough pill for me to swallow, even like just buying the one place that I have, is the advice for certain situations. You can't have those, or I should say, it won't serve you to have certain conversations with, like, I don't want to say the wrong people because it doesn't sound that good, but like some of the people around you that, like, you love, like, that might be like, a parent, a friend, a cousin, whatever, like the advice that they'll give you for something that's a lot more tactical, or even like around mindset or whatever, like there's just kind of like a different framework. Like you need to find another person, exactly like you said, which you'll 110% find in, a mastermind that suits your interest and that type of thing. You need to have those conversations with the right people to actually get the real, like, advice for what you're looking for.
Yeah. No, I didn't mean to interrupt you either.
That's okay.
And like I throw away, my family's comments don't apply.
Yep.
Like I'm being 100% serious.
Yep.
My wife is my biggest supporter, and my children, I do this all for them, all 3 girls. It's my wife and 2 girls. I only care about her opinion, and she's my backbone. My mother tells me I've worked too hard my whole life. I'm going to kill myself. And this one are you sure you're doing this okay? You sure you did this money? You got to tune it out.
Yep.
Eagles don't hang out with squirrels. And
Exactly.
I don't mean to say that in a negative way that my families are squirrels.
What are you doing up in New Hampshire, man? No, I'm just
I
kidding.
am up in New Hampshire. Yeah. No, it's all good. So, but in the scheme of things,
Yeah.
I'm schooling right now.
Yeah.
And I can go down a rabbit hole, which might offend a lot of people, but I don't want my children being taught by someone who's a pension, 9 to 5, going to make okay money. Yeah, they love it. They're passionate teachers, but I don't necessarily want my children's education coming from someone who's got a different mindset of like, go to college, go to school, 9 to 5, work till you're 65. That's a crack of shit.
Yep.
So you need to tune all that out, and and again, we're all programmed that way because that's how we came up.
Yep.
But now you learn as an adult if you want to break anything, you want to break abuse, you want to break drugs, you want to break anything, you need to break the chain.
Yes.
And that's what it's up to, like even family. So your biggest supporters are going to be strangers and other peers. Your biggest haters are going to be, the people
around
used
you.
The people around you. So as soon as you can tune that out too, again, it's a mental game, bro. You know this.
Definitely.
As much as investing is like cool, you can find a good deal. You need to have the mental game in check. That's the biggest hack that I never knew. I didn't know it until like 3 years ago.
100%, man. And you're 100% right. And the other thing that I wanted to touch on was, just the power of like those masterminds, and I'm in a couple like local ones for real estate, but it's more, the actual tactical, like real estate stuff, like, oh, great, like that's awesome. But more the support and making sure that your mind is in the right place. And like, it's so much bigger than just the properties, man. And like, it's crazy. And like you don't realize it until you do, that like just this community and like just this group of people that you can literally like, I don't know. I totally agree with you, man. Like it sounds like a cult, because like the connection is like, it pretty much is kind of.
It is. Yeah. Like we have our friends on the outside, and like my wife's friends, and like they talk about it often. And she's like, all right, if they ask you to move into a community away from us in a different state, I think we need to worry. Like, we joke about it. Like, yeah, if we move, we'll pump the brakes. Like, let us know.
that's like, kind of the cutoff. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that's when you go, wait, is it a cult?
There might be something there. Yeah.
Bro, it's like, it's the best thing I've ever had. And it's amazing. And there are other communities. We can see everyone else who's trying to emulate, right? Yes. Because the days of the gurus and the 6-month mentorships, and I've done them. Steve Trang, like 1 year. Cool. You can get value from those. But if you're looking in this, and here's what I'll say, I want to rewind a little bit. There are players in every environment, in every area, territory, state, county, whatever. Yep. There's guys up here playing in my field up here in New Hampshire that still are, every time I see their posts on Facebook, it's What's in it for me? I need this. I need an agent. I am looking for houses. I need realtors. Tell me, I'll pay you a referral fee. Give me deals.
Yep.
Bro, you're never giving value to anybody else.
Absolutely.
Stop thinking of yourself, you
Yep.
selfish prick.
Yeah.
And I feel bad. But those are the people I don't want to be around. And this
Exactly.
community is a filtering mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
I filter everybody in my life through like this podcast, right? If we had a bunch of people on here, a bunch of people would be here because they are choosing to be here. They're choosing to be in this campfire we're in.
Yep.
I'm okay with being around those people because it's a filtering mechanism. We didn't just go stand on the street in downtown Boston and have this conversation and let all the squirrels come in.
Exactly.
Oh, the pigeons, we'll say pigeons. We'll use that term for Boston. But bro, like same, right?
Yeah.
It's filtered.
Yep.
You have to filter your environment.
I love the way you just described that, man.
You know?
You're 100% right. You know, and that's 100% it is, you know, just having that go-giver mentality. You know, and it's interesting, you know, because like I feel like in general the stigma is like, oh, you know, like just, you know, go out and, you know, just ask. And like the deeper you go, like, I don't know, it seems like I was talking to somebody about this a couple of days ago. Like, it seems like in a couple of the avenues that, you know, I'm kind of pivoting to, like, it seems like a lot more like success is just revolved around genuine human connection at the end of the day. That just so happens to be through the lens of real estate or whatever the case is. Literally like how can I just serve you best? Like how can I hear you and be able to present you options that, you know, might work, maybe they won't. You know, if they do, great. You know, I might be able to help you. If not, that's cool too. You know, I'm not the right guy for you. You know, I feel like just so much of it in a lot of different ways just revolves down to like literally just being a human being. And like I see it over and over and over again. I'm like, oh shit, like here it is again. Like, you know, like, yeah, like, you know, this is involved with a 3 family in Leominster or something. But the person who's, you know, the seller of that property, she's got this going on and this going on and this going on. Like, you know, like how can I just help you? Like, just as a human, like how can we serve each other? And, you know, we'll see how it goes from there, you know, and just focus on giving and giving and giving. And I definitely believe the universe has its ways of going full circle.
It does.
Of bringing things back to you. And like, yeah, you know,
110% the go-giver. Yeah, I mean, again, thankfully because of Pace, and I owe a lot to him, and it's trying to bring value. And so there's a certain spotlight that he shines once in a while. I get the tail end of, right? And I get my inbox, YouTube, and things, people reaching out. That's awesome, right? Community, letting people know what you do. But what comes with that is a lot of demand and a lot of people hitting you up. And there's people that come. That's why I try to warn, and I need to do better at it. But like, I want to make a clone of myself, which is going on YouTube and saying some things and saying, hey guys, if you're going to like, let's talk about deals. Let me know where you're from. That's what I always say to him. Like, tell me where you're from.
I like that.
I want to know about you. Don't just say, hey, Justin, saw you on YouTube, saw you on whatever, sub 2. I have this deal, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, who are you? What's your name? Where are you from, bro?
Pump the brakes. Yeah.
I genuinely care. I want to know, like, I like to envision that part of the country. I want to feel like I'm in like Florida with you.
Yes.
So with comes that though, like you have to, what I was told by Jim Mill, one of his Pace's best friend personally, he said, like, you have to have office hours, but because the demand was creeping up, and he's like, bro, it's going to get real. Like, as much as like this little fraction of bringing value to other people in the community that you're doing, he goes, I can see like you have to set office hours, because my wife's like, oh, you're at 11 o'clock and you're sitting there replying to people. But if you counted, and my wife said this, and this is where the point of my long wind comes from. My wife told me one day, she goes, it's working. But she also, before she said that, 3, 4, 6 months ago, she said, you need to like not give so many people your time. You need to not give so much of your time. And it made me think, I'm like, shit, maybe I am like not doing this right. Like maybe I am sacrificing my business, my dollars, my family, my life for what? And I declined her advice politely. I didn't say anything. I just kept bringing value to people, right? Trying the best I can. I can't get to everybody. I can't give all the best advice, obviously. But she changed the tune. She's like, it's working. And I was like, it's working. You're not going to monetize every person, but you have to bring, like, the only people I want to hang with or talk to is like, if you're going to bring business, if you're going to bring spiritual, like, which not even God or anything, it's just bringing some positivity.
Absolutely.
And, you know, like, and some good old wisdom, like, those are the things we want.
Yep.
That's wealth. That's an abundance. So, you know, you're not going to monetize it all. You can help people answer the questions. You're going to make a friend. You never know when that person's going to come through and say, hey, I got this 30 unit I'd love to bring to you. Like, because you answered a question last year for him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, don't think about the money. And that's when I just had a conversation with a kid who jumped on my team this week. He's broke. I'm like, bro, it's 3 days in.
Yeah.
I go, you are joining a team right now. We have 15 deals in escrow. Like, let's get this shit going. Like, calm down. Yeah. Stop thinking about the money.
Yeah.
So again, I go on these tangents. I'm sorry, Kyle.
No, I love it. This is phenomenal, man. Holy shit.
You know?
Like, damn, you know, seriously.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, it's really interesting, man. Cause like, that's the dynamic, right? Like that's what everybody, like, I feel like that's why everybody, you know, thinks real estate is so sexy, is like automatically, like, it just goes to like, oh, you can make all this money and all this equity and like all this like crazy stuff and financial freedom and like all this crazy stuff. But the deeper that you go, like, it's interesting, like what you focus on, you know. And like, you know, we hear, you know, often, like just in podcasts and books and stuff like that, like, you can't, like, it's very like indirect, you know, like you can't like just focus on the money, because like you'll make certain decisions a certain way and like it's not sustainable. But if you just go off of exactly like you said, you know, just trying to give as much value as you can, while not like, I mean, you know, giving it as much value as you can, but also like not wasting your time at the same time. You know, like it's like a really weird balance.
It is.
Right?
Yeah. And only you will know that balance.
Yeah.
There's no balance in work and family. My work comes first. That's the one thing everyone else doesn't really get. Yeah. Business is first, because without business, my little beautiful girls don't have what they have.
Yeah.
And I don't have the freedom. So I focus on business first. Yep. A lot of folks might disagree with that, but I can be present. This business got me home. This business got me out of 9 to 5. This business, I get to see my kids wake up and go to bed. I never got that before.
Definitely.
So the dinner would be on the table. I'd get home at 10 o'clock at night and I'd warm it up in the microwave real quick, throw it in my gullet, back to bed, wake up at 4. I didn't see anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So that the decisions we make and the value we bring, listen, you can be transactional. My fix and flip partner, he's a good dude. He is a money transactional man. He is $1 in, $2 out. Yeah. And he's shifting his mindset, and that's great. It's got him to a certain point where he makes $500,000 a year and he's good. That's good. But he is now going, all right, cool. At 42 years old, whatever he is, I'm getting I'm helping him actually, and he's helping me in certain financial aspects. So he's getting to see, and I get to see him. He did it 15 years before me. And like you said, you only get so far. Yeah. And you're only going to be that money person. What's in it for me? Or transactional contractors, right? You go to the job, it's like, please do this, please do that, please do this, please do that. Oh, that's wrong. Or there's issues with contractors and money. How about like, hey, like we're having a cookout, come over. We're like, hey man, like I want you to meet some of my other investor friends, not keep them secret. Like that's my contract. That's my guy. I don't want to share them.
Yep.
Like there's a lot of the mindset that you need to shift. And there's particularly people in my neck of the woods up here that I can see it. And it's driving me mad. Like, I'm like, oh, I wish you would just see that you would be so much better if you wanted to just do things together. If you wanted to open the door, if you allowed people in instead of being scared.
Exactly. Just that beauty of collaboration, and
Yeah.
it brings it back to the just being a human element, and working together and working, doing bigger things as a community. And I love the whole community aspect, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's, oh my God, it's nuts. Like, that's the
It's-
thing that really makes me happy,
Yeah, it is. And that's cool. Like, we're actually shifting in a world that it's maybe everyone goes, wow, we're not talking on the phone anymore. We're texting. But
Yeah.
you're actually doing the opposite now that you think about it, right? Before it was DVDs, seminars, and what my leads, my deals, secret.
Yep. Nobody knows anything. This is my stuff. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And now, like, in a day and age where you thought maybe you weren't going to connect with people, we're the most connected.
Absolutely.
I think.
Yeah.
In certain elements.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I definitely agree, man. 100%. It's really crazy that, like, when you start to kind of have conversations around like the bigger picture like that.
Yeah.
And
yep.
It's kind of great. Like, to change the subject a tiny bit, I won't go too much on it, but in the process of pivoting the podcast right now with kind of like the direction that I'm going, because originally it was just based on, keeping it really local, like Middlesex County and Worcester County and Maine, like, just keeping it as small as I can to kind of grow as big as I can, like that, following that type of mentality.
Yeah.
And I realized through having some conversations with people that, like, I'm shooting myself in the foot for a couple different reasons. And one of the directions that a buddy of both of us, Dan Milanazzo, shout out to you, my man. Love you.
Always showing up.
Always.
Yeah.
I was talking to him about it. I'm like, yeah, man. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Cause, like, obviously the real estate, the mindset stuff, like, yeah, just trying to give whatever. But a big part of what I was always trying to do was to keep it local, and I'm like, now what am I going to do? I'm like, that's what I decided 2 years ago when I started putting this thing together. And he brought an idea to me that leads exactly onto the tail end of what you just mentioned about how we're all so connected, right? And what I'm trying to figure out right now, the idea that Dan had, I absolutely freaking love it. And I'm running with it in one way or another. It's happening. But he was like, oh, well, what if, like, you reached out to, like, the past guests that you've had on the show, like, for kind of like referrals, like, oh, anybody, you got any buddies that, might want to jump on and tell their story, which I've done in the past. But the difference this time around is they have to be in different markets.
Yep.
They can't be in Middlesex County, Worcester County, wherever they are. So now you can roll the dice, like New Hampshire, New England, like the freaking Ohio, like wherever the hell people can go. And, like, I bought a map. I literally have it, like, sitting across the room right now. Like, that you would see in like a third grade classroom, 100%. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So now, like, I'm going to have a map, like, probably back here somewhere.
Love it.
With, like, all the different places that guests have gone to,
put that little picture too, tiny little picture.
That would be cool. Yeah. I like that, man. That's cool.
Yeah. You said you remember.
Exactly. And to show how freaking connected all of us really are, because it's unfreaking believable.
Bro.
I'm like, Dan, I'm like, fuck, man. Like, you know, like, wow. Like, it took my breath away. I was literally, like, shaking. He
is a methodical thinker.
He is. I love that guy so much.
Yeah, he is. He's grounded is what I think. That's awesome.
But yeah, it's nuts, man. Like, just how really connected, and, like, it's beautiful, especially through, like we talked about earlier with, like, the sense of community and in the mastermind and, like, the families, like, in these different areas and around these different, psychographic, like, interests and activities and everything. Like, it's fuck, man. Like, the connection, like, wow.
Yeah. Well, because then, like, and the other thing is, like, I know real estate's great, but real estate and businesses own real estate. Well, the better ones typically do. Like, that can divert, like, you can have options too, because I know quite a few people now, and I'm trying to dabble and keep my eyes open. It's like buying businesses, but I like businesses with real estate, of course.
Yeah.
So, like, you even have a shift there. And then, I mean, to the point where when you said, even we talk about the states, bro, I have a dude who jumped on my Calendly. He's in sub 2 and he's pretty quiet, but he lives in Germany.
Wow.
Yeah, like, his name's
That's
Klaus.
cool.
Like, Klaus is in Germany. I don't, like, he's like reaching out how I can bring value to him, like, meaning, like, well, it's mutual, but he's like, hey man, I need help. I have a seller, three buildings in Tampa, and, like, helping him out. And how I'm not asking him what's in it for me, but we already touched base on that. But it's cool. Like, he's in Germany. The dude's
That's
hustling.
nuts.
And he's doing business in the States. He needs people. He needs locals.
Yep.
But yeah, anywhere in the world now. And I know there's other people across the world in sub 2 in particular. That is so rad. And I think you do need to spread your wings, because what it's going to do is going to open you up to different markets. You're going to hear, and you're going to have your pulse on those markets. And bro, you're going to get so much wisdom more than anybody, because you're going to, all right, this guy's doing multifamily, this guy's doing single family, this guy's doing rehabs, or, drug facilities or treatment facilities, sober living.
Yep.
You're going to be able to see. And then the other thing is, now you made a friend there. And if you know anything about sub 2 now, it's like, I was in the New England market myself only. I was like, oh, I'm going to stay in this little bubble. And then I get into sub 2, meet one of my best friends now at the mastermind. And next thing I know, I'm like, oh, I can go anywhere. Let's do it. Let's go. So now you're going to now have boots on the ground and a community that's invaluable.
I'm excited to.
I would recommend that. I agree with you.
I do too. He blew my socks off that day. I was texting him. I'm like, Dan, you know me better than I know myself. I'm like, literally, like, because that's the type of thing, like we talked about for God knows how long, man. Like that's the one of the core values that's important to me, is just creating this space where like all of us can kind of ride the waves together.
Yeah,
that's the biggest thing that I care about. It's we can all play the game together. It's all good.
Yeah. And I think about it too. It's a limiting mind belief. Like, you're not choosing to be limited in your thinking. It's just what we have. We're humans. That's what happens. Exactly. We're kind of like, oh no, I don't want to go anywhere else. I don't want to talk about it. I like my little
little bubble. Yep.
A little bubble. We all do. But it takes someone to go, and it's right in front of you. I get it all the time. My best friend tells me, he's like, I'm going to be your spokesperson, or I'm going to be like, because things come right by me sometimes, and I'm thinking about like everything else going on.
Yep.
And he's like, bro, it's right in front of you. Look at it. And I'm like, you're so right. Like, we all need that person. And that's okay. So yeah, I love that you accept it, and you can recognize that he brought that. That's the other thing.
You have to. 100%, man. And yeah, that's another huge point, is like we get so wrapped up in like what the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, that, like you said, man, the things that are literally right freaking in front of us, like sometimes it takes somebody else to be like, hey dude, like slow down for a second, like check this out, like maybe throw an idea by you, and like it could rock your world, and like you have no idea. And like I feel like that's in a lot of different areas of our lives, like I don't know, like if you like going to the gym or something like that, like like somebody telling you like, oh dude, if you do this a little bit differently, like it's something you would have never thought of. And like I feel like it all just comes back to that community, man, that community factor. And like surround yourself with the right people, and like shit just changes. And it's
love on people, surround yourself. You hit it right there. That's it. And just watch yourself, just watch yourself as well,
Definitely.
Yeah,
man, this was killer, Justin. Thank you so much, man.
So much. Yeah, I love it. We ended up going like super mindset. Right?
I love it, man. Hell yeah. Yeah.
We're
on like social media and stuff. Can you be found, man? I know you're all over the place. I'll drop everything.
Yeah, for sure. Instagram's the best thing right now. So it's Real Estate Justin with a period in between everything. Real Estate Justin, and then same thing with YouTube. Trying to build YouTube up. And yeah, like we're local. I'm across the country now with sub 2. We're pretty much entire East Coast, I'd say. So we're Northeast and the Southeast. So like Florida to North Carolina. We're in like those ocean states, we'll call them, I guess. And New England. But yeah, I mean, guys, like creatively up here, we're almost it. I know there's a lot of people in sub 2, but the creative deals are very far and few between. So I would say if anyone needs help structuring deals, and even like just looking at them, like, hey man, like, is this sub 2 available on a reverse mortgage? Well, I can give you the answer on that, So, yeah, however I can be of value, that's it.
I love it, man. Thank you so much. This was phenomenal.
Sure. Thank you.
All right, guys, that concludes our Creating Wealth podcast episode for today. I want to thank every single person that has listened this far. It really means a lot to know that people can learn from me and with me as we build wealth together. Hopefully you can take home at least one thing from this podcast that will improve your life just a little bit. If you could, please check me out on social. That's at Kyle Curtin Real Estate on Instagram, Facebook, and I'm on Bigger Pockets. Until next time, let's build together.